Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
If you didn't know before, now you know why they call this the Fun Belt.
I'm very excited about the Sun Belt.
You know, while other conferences have been breaking up, our conference has become stronger.
The state of Sun Belt football is the strongest in our history.
I saw Fun Belt Conference, and I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I got to join the show. It sounds a lot of fun.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/pod.
All the talk of Sunbelt Conference Media Days. Jeremy, it wasn't about the trophy, the MVP belt. It was Owen Porter's hat.
That's the trophy we need.
That's the trophy we need. We have a talk later with Commissioner Gill, so we'll bring up having the golden hat as the new MVP trophy.
Golden, that might be a little ugly, but a hat would be
just a hat.
So, Thunder and Herd, a pretty good debut in the Sun Belt Conference. How did y'all see it last year, and what was y'all's take your first time through the league schedule?
It was nice. It was fun being in the conference. You never want to say anything bad about anybody else, but I enjoyed it more than the previous conference we were in. A lot better. Felt like everybody we played was good. Like the competition never fell off with any team. The atmospheres were always good everywhere we went. There wasn't any stadiums that had nobody in them. It was always fun for each game, and just good competition all the way around.
Yeah, it was just it was definitely exciting getting a new wave of competition. Just top to bottom, you got great teams in the conference, East and West. So yeah, I was excited.
Would you say that Notre Dame was the easiest win you had?
Wait, say it again?
Was Notre Dame the easiest win you had?
I don't know about easiest win we had, but it was definitely one of the more fun ones, that's for sure. Very fun place to play. Crazy atmosphere for sure.
So y'all actually had the early game that day, and so y'all were really setting the tone for everything that transpired that week. Did y'all, like on the plane ride home or anything, kind of see what else had happened in the Sun Belt after that game?
Yeah, we knew Georgia Southern had beat Nebraska because one of our teammates was Ingram here with you? Yeah. All right, so one of our teammates, offensive lineman, had transferred to Georgia Southern. So we beat Notre Dame, and then we're on FaceTime in the locker room with him. They just beat Nebraska, and then that's the same day I beat Texas A&M, right? Yeah. So it was wild. It was definitely pretty cool as a conference.
So, when you won that game, there seemed to be a sense that Marshall might be ready to tear up not just the Sun Belt, but the entire college football landscape. At the time, Notre Dame held in very high regard. Was the win, in a way, kind of a distraction? Because there's some stumbling blocks for Thunder and Herd after that.
I think we let ourselves get a little bit too high at the end of the day, which then the loss, looking back on it, the loss to Bowling Green helped pull us back down and helped us. You're right, we ended up being 3-3 right there, and it helped us as a team to make a decision and be like, all right, hey, we're going to finish this out the right way at the end of the day. So, yeah, it was an awesome win. We got a little too high on it, and that comes without having experience, but next time we will be ready for it.
I'm excited to see Cam taking over full-time at quarterback, mostly because he's a southpaw.
Oh, well, yeah. That makes him crazy.
Cam's like, I have other skills too. No, it's because you're a southpaw. Tell me about that offense. I mean, it's got to take some pressure off of you, knowing that you don't necessarily have to have the perfect game throwing and run the perfect offense, knowing that you have Ali right behind you that kind of gives you that dual threat in offense.
Yeah, Ali definitely takes a lot of pressure off you. You have a one-of-a-kind talent like that next to you, it allows you to just be able to hand the ball off and let him work. So having him next to you is definitely makes life a lot stressful.
Owen, you probably don't get a chance to hit him much, but is Ali really that shifty where if you could, you'd probably still miss?
I mean, I'm not going to say I would miss, right? I'm not going to miss. But he is extremely shifty, right? A lot of our running backs are very shifty, but in particular, he comes out of his first jump cut, and as soon as his 2 feet hit the ground, he's out of it. Like, he's moving so fast. He's a very freakish athlete, that's for sure.
Coach Huff, he really brings a lot of good experience to the program. What do y'all see? What kind of leader is he, and how many Sabanisms does he bring from his time at Alabama?
I think he just instilled to us that taking everything day by day, not worrying about what you have going on in the next month, or just worrying about the phase that you're in right now, which right now is about to be fall camp. So I feel like that's what he's really instilled, just taking it day by day, not worrying about the future for him.
Yeah, I mean, we call ourselves the mini Alabama. We're Alabama without the Alabama budget, that's for sure. We're on the same style of practices, same style of workouts. But Coach Huff is great. He gives our team a lot of confidence, especially each week. Nobody's more proud of us whenever we win, and nobody picks our head up more whenever we lose. So.
Cam, give me a little idea of what your playing style is going to be. If you had to compare yourself to a professional guy, an NFL guy, who would you compare yourself to?
I think it would be like a mix of multiple people. That's why I try to emulate myself as. I try to take bits and pieces from multiple guys in the league. I grew up a Russell Wilson fan, so him being an escape artist, I feel like I take pride in not being able to make the first guy tackle me. And then I really want to be known as a passer that can use his legs when needed. I don't want to be known as a run first type of guy. I want to be known as a passer, true quarterback that can extend plays with his legs.
So is that something that you've worked on in the offseason, or something, getting that part of your game down?
The offense was the story last year, but the defense, I mean, obviously kept the herd in a lot of games. Talk about that defense and who are the other playmakers that we see or we'll probably hear about this year.
Oh, I can talk about these boys all day. Sam Burton, that's a huge guy coming back for us. I think in the Notre Dame game, Sam had 2.5 sacks. Sam Burton doesn't get hurt. He beats me by 7-8 sacks on the season. I mean, that kid is phenomenal. Then we got a new guy, Mike Green, defensive line, freak of nature, UVA transfer. Really excited to see him. Isaiah Gibson, Kai McCracken, Tyquez legs. Like my front four are. We got some dogs up there in the front, and then the linebacker room. We obviously got Eli Neal coming back. He's kind of our vocal leader as a team. Speaks for our defense, makes the calls, makes sure we're all lined up and in the right situation. Even if he doesn't put himself in the right spot, he's going to make sure the rest of the 10 of us are. But that whole linebacker room as well. I think it's as deep as I've ever seen it in 6 years of being at Marshall. We've got a lot of really good transfers, a lot of really good freshmen, guys that are going to compete to not only play on the defense, but you're going to see a lot of linebackers playing on our special teams all the way around. And then DBs as well. Mike Abraham's holding it down in the back end. To me, he was the conference defense player of the year last year, 6 interceptions. The kid was locked down on our boundary side. I mean, he was all that we needed it the most, and somebody was trying to go up the top. Michael was there every single time. So we got nothing but hope and faith in those boys in the back end, and they can give us 3 or 4 seconds in the front, then they're going to have a rough day.
Cam, we talked about Coach Huff, but you get the experience of working with Clint Trickett as the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. Talk about what he brings and what's been some big things that he's been able to teach you.
I mean, all my success I give to Coach Curt. The amount of hours that he's put in with me, along with Huff, it would be crazy if we would put it on paper. But I give him nothing but praise, because without him, I wouldn't be where I am right now.
Does he fire up Netflix and make you watch Last Chance U to go see? That's me.
Nah, he hasn't hit that.
Last question for you guys before we set you free into the wild. What makes Coach Huff pissed off the most? What can you do in practice that just drives him the craziest?
I would say if the defense doesn't run at the ball.
I was also thinking the same thing. Either not running to the ball.
Just anything with
just wait for that ball to come to you, right? You don't want that.
Let me think. Consistent receivers dropping balls.
Oh,
that is probably the worst. I've seen him
I like
throw
the defensive guy hanging out the receiver.
Yeah,
just by the way.
well,
I've seen him
he
throw his
can't hang
hat,
out the defenders.
dozens of times. And yell his key catchphrase multiple times on the field.
Well,
what's that key catchphrase?
Yeah.
That's not
all right, maybe we'll have to ask him about that.
Dawn in the Green, the luck of the Irish was definitely with you last year in the Sun Belt Conference. How big was that game for your program, as well as you, of really getting these guys to buy in to everything you had been trying to tell them?
Yeah, I think it was validation that our process works, and when we do what we're supposed to do consistently, we can beat anybody in the country, When we prepare really well, we play our tails off, and we go execute. It works. And if you fully commit to it and buy in, it's going to create value for you and obviously the whole team. The biggest learning piece for us was, you turn around, you beat Notre Dame, and then you turn around, you don't do what you're supposed to do, you lose to Bowling Green. So there's two, you hate to lose a game to teach and then teach a lesson example. There's two lessons, guys. In order for it doesn't matter who we play, we've got to do what we can do and do what we're supposed to do to have success. So, but it was a good learning experience. It's something these kids, Owen talked about it a little bit. You really don't think of it. In the midst of the season, you're rolling. But these guys will be 50 and 60. They'll be sitting around, fire, and they'll be telling their grandkids that, I played and beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame. That's something they'll never forget.
Just your opinion. What happened in that game with Bowling Green? How do you go from that stellar game against Notre Dame and they come away and sort of lay an egg? I mean, what do you think it was? Was it simply a letdown game, or was it lack of concentration?
No, combination. We had some guys banged up. That's the risky run when you play, in Notre Dame. Our starting safety was out. So that changes some things. So now we're playing another player who obviously at that point in the season hadn't had many reps. And the same way we beat Notre Dame, we picked them off 3 times. But we got to the goal line at Bowling Green and fumbled 2 times. So, and I use that as an example, not to keep going back to last year, guys. If we don't take care of the ball, it doesn't matter who we play. Mm-hmm. If we can take the ball away, it doesn't matter who we play. And I use that as an example. I honestly, a lot of people ask me, was it a letdown game? If we fumble on the goal line 2 times, one goes through the end zone, one they get back. If you do that in any game, it's going to be very difficult to win. If you're not playing with your best players, that's why one of the reasons we went out this year and got a lot more depth. If you're not playing with your best players, it's going to be tough to win. So I think it's just a great learning lesson for our guys of, hey, stay healthy, take care of the football, do the little things right. We can beat anybody in the country. When we don't, we'll lose to a high school. Not that Bowling Green's a high school, but it doesn't matter who we play. Sure. So,
you brought Ali last year, Sun Belt Media Days. I think he partied too hardy on Bourbon Street and missed the bulk of the season. Is that why you left him at home this year, just to protect him and make sure he's safe?
No, I try to rotate because I think this is the experience. I know a lot of times media days and who goes to media days is, they're the starter, they're the captain on the team. I think it's an experience, that you can teach young men. Owen and Cam are probably 2 of the young men who talk the least, on our team. But when they do speak, people listen. So for me, I'm trying to expose them to the next phase of their life, whether that's the NFL career and dealing with media, whether that's in their job career. Cam being a quarterback and only being a sophomore, he's going to be in front of a lot more mics, either positively or negatively, for the next 3 or 4 years that he's here, and then whatever he does afterwards. So I use this as an opportunity to get guys experience, to put them in an uncomfortable, controlled situation. We know when we come to Sunbelt Media Days, you're not talking about that third interception you threw, Cam. So this gives them a chance to be uncomfortable while learning to be comfortable in this type of environment. And there are two guys on our team that represent our team really well, and doing the right things. I think they've earned the respect of the team. So for them to come represent their teammates, I thought it was good.
Did Owen have to clear the hat with you before he broke it out in media days?
No. Actually, I kind of felt like he was either going to do a hat or some type of I actually thought he would probably have a cowboy suit on, like a George Strait suit on, full suit.
That would have been fantastic.
He's definitely, the hat comes out a lot, so we expect it.
So, Thunder and Hurt 2023, a defensive team that can play some offense, or an offensive team that can play some defense?
Well, I was trained by Coach Saban, so we're always going to be a defensive team that can play the offense, because I don't think you can win consistently if you don't have good defense. And a lot of times what happens is people get all boo-hooey about the offense. If I don't feel that the team can score on our defense, I'm not going to put the team at risk by exposing our offense to an opportunity to turn the ball over. We played a game this season up at ODU, and about the second series, our defense coordinator said, "Coach, I don't think they're going to score on us today." So we changed our approach on offense that day. We were more run it and let's kick a field goal. Hey, if we happen to run it through the end zone, great, but let's not do anything to put our defense at a disadvantage if they feel really good about it. There's going to be some times where the defense, hey, Coach, we need a few more points, and we got to figure out a way to do that. But I don't ever feel like we should put one side of the ball at jeopardy trying to be a offensive team or defensive team. You got to play good defense. You got to stop the run. You got to run the ball. Anything over that, that's extra.
So you mentioned Coach Saban. I know he was a big mentor, really helped mold you. What are some of the quirks that you took? I mean, are you like a oatmeal pie guy in pregame? Do you have the Coke bottle on the stand labeled out?
No, I'm not an oatmeal pie guy. I do chew Red Man, so he's a Red Man chewer. I am probably meticulous for discipline, meticulous for everybody doing their job. That's something that ultimately people ask me, what'd you learn when you were there? The importance of discipline and the importance of consistency. That's the difference. We can go out and play Notre Dame and then turn around and lose the Bowling Green. It's not consistent, and it's not going to help us be.
Yeah, that must drive you crazy.
Yeah, it's not going to help us be successful long term. I think what we started to do is we started to get a consistent routine the back end of the season, and you saw us play with a lot more consistency. That's what we got to kind of bottle and capture with this team moving forward.
It's a big year in Huntington with the Georgia Southern game coming up on, the second weekend in November or second weekend of October. What does that big tradition really mean in Huntington? Because, that's a big reason why I've always wanted to go to Huntington to check out a Thunder and Hurt game is for that weekend.
Yeah, obviously the 75 game is the game that represents who we are. In 1970, the plane crash went down, killed 75 souls on board. It's the reason that our community and our university and our team are so entrenched. A lot of the family members are still in Huntington. A lot of people still have friends. A lot of people were in school when that happened that are still there. So that event is why we play. We play to honor them. And that weekend brings back a lot of memories. It's heavy for a lot of people. And our players do everything we can to honor, those 75 souls by how we play. Obviously, winning the game is important. But I'm more focused on how do we play. because we can win the game and not play with the right intensity, and that wouldn't be honoring those 75. I want to make sure we honor them with how we play, especially on that weekend.
With that said, Coach, we look up and down the East. I know it's always a shift from the somber there. You got to play a tough team in Georgia Southern that's picked right around the mix. I think y'all were picked second. You were our preseason favorite to win the East. How big will that game be, knowing that could have some title implications for that Eastern Division?
Yeah, I think, last year we had a battle with those guys, and I think Coach Helton does a really good job, with this team every year. It's not going to be any bigger than, the game the week before or the week after. The beauty about this conference is it's not, hey, if we win this one game, we're good. You got to show up every week, and they will make you challenge yourself, every week because the competition level from top to bottom is so competitive and so even and so close that 1 week could be the difference. Like you said, that week could have a lot of implications on where we finish, where they finish, and how that affects the overall title race. I thank you guys for all you do and wish you guys luck this year. And hopefully if you get a chance, come on up to Huntington, come see us.
We'll come down to Huntington, we'll tear down.
For sure.
Thanks, Coach.
The student athletes now from James Madison join us. James, on the defensive line, I mean, that defense was pretty stout. I know the offense got a lot of credit, but tell us about that Duke's defense last year and kind of how it's going to parlay into 23.
Yeah, I mean, we had a good year last year. Coach Haynes and the D staff, they have a great scheme for us, but it's ways to put us in ways to be successful, and it's our job to execute. But yeah, I mean, we had a good year last year, and we're hoping to improve upon it this year.
Nick, how fun was it? I mean, you had Todd Senseo that sometimes I don't think anybody knew. Everyone knew what the play call was, but no one knew what the play call was going to be once the snap happened. How fun was it blocking for him?
I mean, Todd, he was a great athlete, great leader. I mean, some of the stuff he's done. I remember there was I think it was an App State game. He slipped out. It was first quarter, slipped out. And following through with the Drew Painter caught it with one hand and got a first down. I was like, oh my God, I've never seen that before at all. But yeah, he's just a great athlete.
Let me ask you this, Nick. A lot of schools in the Sun Belt claim to have the best offensive line. I've heard it from Louisiana. I've heard it from Appalachian State. I've even heard it from Georgia State. Does James Madison have the best offensive line in the Sun Belt?
Without a question. Without a question. I mean, it's hard to beat experience. And when it comes to, they may have better athletes than us, but coming from, when you get to a game and live bullets are flying, there's nobody who's played as many games as we have. And just having that confidence when they're in a game situation, it just sets us above everyone else.
Last year, the new kids on the block, how much was it a motivator where it's like, oh, that's great, there's this FCS team that's moving up. Yeah, there'll be something to be reckoned with in a couple of years.
How cute.
Yeah, but this year, yeah, that's nice. How much of that was a motivator for y'all that last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of teams maybe doubted us. We kind of had some questions about us, but I think going into it, a lot of teams doubted us. I think that was definitely a motivating factor for us. I mean, it's kind of, it's hard to beat that. That motivating factor definitely pushed us. Gave us a little extra edge, chip on our shoulder going into last year.
Yeah, I mean, just more fuel to the fire. Whether it's last year, I mean, people counted us out. They didn't know what we had, and I think we showed the conference that we're a force to be reckoned with here for a while.
Big guys in the trenches. Doesn't matter how good your quarterback is, your running back is, the defense. Without defense, they're just going to score at will. We see the MVP belt of the Sun Belt. Knowing that the guys in the trenches are never going to get it, how great is it that you get to take pictures with it, at least here at Media Days?
I mean, it's pretty cool. I like the championship belt. I mean, I was a big WWE fan when I was a kid, so seeing that's pretty cool.
I mean, I was talking with one of the other offensive linemen that was here, and I was like, he's like just looking at it. I was like, you want that belt? He's like, yeah. I said, but if you win it, that means bad things have happened. He goes, I know, but how cool would that be?
That's good.
The surprise Dukes of JMU join us now, Coach Curt Cignetti. Coach, were you surprised by the outcome of last season with your team?
Not really. I mean, we had won at such a high level. I knew we had a good team. Put a lot of time preparing for these teams we had never played. Wasn't quite sure what the gap would be, but right away we waxed Middle Tennessee pretty good and then beat App at App, and we were on our way. So I thought there were a couple more we could have had that we didn't get. And, now we're picked number 1 this year, but I think this year it's a tough road, boy. This schedule we got, at Virginia, at Troy, at Utah State, and home to South Alabama, at Marshall on a Thursday night. It's going to be a pretty significant challenge. We got a good nucleus back. Got to figure out who the quarterback is, a couple of the playmakers at receiver, 7 back on offense, 8 on defense, most of the specialists. Our guys know how to win. That goes a long way.
Yeah, I think one thing that you mentioned, though, is that JMU is not surprised anymore in terms of from other players.
Yeah, we're not going to.
You were never surprised, but other teams might have been a little taken by surprise.
Probably, because we're not going to sneak up on anybody. Yeah. We'll have a target on our back, and but we're used to that.
So no Todd Centeio, who was all-world last year, was great. You had mentioned that you're kind of used to bringing in new quarterbacks and turning them into stars. Who do you think is going to rise to the top this season?
I don't know, but who was Todd Centeio this time last year? And I was concerned about the position at this time last year, and he stepped up and did a great job, as did DiNucci my first year and Cole Johnson. So I don't know. I'd like to see McLeod, the older guy, because he started 19 games. He's got some qualities. Barnett's got talent. And the other 2 guys aren't Swiss cheese. So it'll be interesting.
So, Coach, as I said, picked first in the East. It seems like the script kind of flipped, that last year it was all about the East, the East, the East. This year it's the West. Do you think the East has what it takes to try to capture that first conference title in 3 years?
Oh, I don't know. That's so far down the road. I mean, I think what I hear you saying is there's a lot of depth in the East, and there's two teams that stand out right now in the West. But I think ULL and Southern Miss are pretty good teams, too. I realize the other ones are rebuilding some. And I think Terry's done a really nice job at Monroe. But I hear what you're saying, and, I guess we'll find out.
Coach, was there any surprises that you really had that first year through the Sun Belt Conference and what that schedule, how it played out for you?
I'll tell you what, I was really proud of our team when we dropped those 3 games and then bounced back and really took care of ODU on the road and came back from a big deficit at home to beat Georgia State and really waxed Coastal, because we had never been in that position before as a pro where you had lost 3 in a row. And I thought our guys really showed their character there.
Did being denied a bowl bid bother you much, or did you just say that's the way it is and we're just going to move on?
We knew the deal going in. We enjoyed ourselves after the Coastal game. We threw a big party on the field, and we're in the same boat this year, so we'll try to use that to our advantage somehow, some way.
So, the big controversy. Were you the Sun Belt East champs or just the division champs?
I didn't know it was a controversy, but it's over.
Thank you so much, Coach. I appreciate it. Looking forward to the Dukes this season.
All right, guys. Take care.